Mina had lived near the forest for most of her life, yet she never felt brave inside it. She could see the tall trees from her kitchen window, dark and still like a wall. People in her village said the forest had its own moods. Some days it looked friendly. Some days it looked like it was watching. Mina usually stayed on the safe paths, the ones children used to pick berries and the elders used to collect firewood. She never went deep. Not because she believed every rumor, but because something about those deeper shadows felt too quiet. That morning started like any other. Mina woke early, swept the porch, and warmed water for tea. Her mother was already out, feeding chickens in the yard. Her mother did not talk much these days. Since Mina's father passed away, her mother spoke with her hands more than her mouth. She worked, she nodded, she sighed. Mina tried not to push her. But inside, Mina carried a heavy question that never left her. What should she do with her life now? Stay in the village forever? Or leave and chase something bigger? She was 23 and felt like time was moving faster than her steps. A loud knock cut through the quiet. Mina opened the door and saw Rafi, the village courier, holding a small brown envelope. For you, he said. From the city. Mina froze for a moment. No one from the city wrote to her. She wiped her hands on her scarf and took it. The paper felt thick and important. Her name was written clearly, like someone took time to make it look serious. Rafi leaned closer, lowering his voice as if the trees could hear. City letters bring city trouble. Just saying. Mina gave a small smile to end the talk. She closed the door, heart tapping fast, and sat at the table. Her mother watched her from the doorway, eyes tired but curious. Mina tore the envelope slowly. Inside was a letter and a thin metal key taped to the paper. The key was old and silver, with a small mark near its head. A triangle shape, scratched like a symbol. Mina read the letter. Mina Khan, if you are reading this, then you are the last person I can trust. Your father asked me to wait until you were old enough. There is something hidden that belongs to your family. Do not show this letter to anyone. Go to the forest path behind the old stone well. Walk until the trees form a broken arch, then follow the wind. You will know when you see it. Use the key when the sand accepts you. Do not go at night. Mina's hands turned cold. Her father had never mentioned any friend who would send such a letter. Her mother stepped closer. What is it? Her mother asked softly. Mina hesitated. She wanted to tell her. But the letter said do not show it to anyone. That line felt like a warning that could break something if she ignored it. Just a city paper, Mina lied, pushing the letter under a plate. Maybe a mistake. Her mother stared for a long second, then turned away. Mina felt guilty at once. But fear was louder. Fear and curiosity. All day Mina tried to act normal. She helped with chores, took water from the pump, and fixed a loose rope on the goat shed. But her mind stayed on the forest. Behind every task, the key sat in her pocket like a tiny secret heart. In the afternoon, the sky turned bright and clean, like the world wanted her to move. Mina told her mother she was going to collect herbs near the safe path. Her mother only nodded, not asking questions. Mina picked a basket, took a small bottle of water, and stepped outside. The forest greeted her with cool air. Leaves moved gently, and the ground was soft. Mina walked past the usual spots, past the berry bushes, past the place where children sometimes left carved initials on tree trunks. Then she reached the old stone well. It was covered in moss and half hidden by vines, like it had been forgotten on purpose. Behind the well, the path narrowed. Mina stopped and listened. No voices. No footsteps. Only birds and the sound of her own breathing. She swallowed, then stepped forward. As she walked deeper, the trees grew closer together. Their branches tangled above like a roof. The light became thin, cutting into long lines across the ground. Mina remembered stories. Stories about people who entered the forest and came out with different eyes. Stories about strange winds that could pull a person off the path. She shook her head. Stories were stories. But the key in her pocket reminded her that sometimes stories started somewhere. After about 20 minutes, Mina saw it. Two old trees leaned toward each other. Their tops did not touch, but their branches curved like an arch that was broken in the middle. The broken arch from the letter. Mina's heart jumped. The letter was real. Not a joke. Not a mistake. She stepped under the arch. At once, the air changed. It felt warmer, and there was a faint smell that did not belong in a forest. Dry, sharp, like sun on stone. Then a small gust of wind brushed her cheek, moving from left to right. The letter said, "Follow the wind." Mina turned right. The ground began to rise gently. She climbed over roots, pushed past hanging vines, and stepped around thorny bushes. The wind came again, stronger, and again from the same direction. It was almost like it was guiding her. Then the trees thinned. Mina expected a clearing. Maybe a small field. Maybe a rock space where sunlight could reach the ground. But what she saw made her stop so suddenly that her basket slipped from her fingers. Sand. A wide stretch of pale sand lay ahead, spreading like a small sea in the middle of the forest. It was not just a patch. It was large, as far as she could see between the ring of trees. The sand looked clean, almost golden, and the sunlight above it felt brighter, as if the sky over this place was different. Mina took a slow step forward. Her shoes sank slightly. The sand was warm, warm enough to feel like it had been under strong sun all day. But above, the forest canopy should have kept it cool. Nothing made sense. She walked further in, leaving footprints behind her. She looked back. The forest edge was still there, watching like a crowd. She felt exposed, like she had stepped onto a stage. In the center of the sand, something stood half buried. At first Mina thought it was a rock. Then she moved closer and realized it was the top of a wooden door. A door lying flat on the ground, like the entrance to something underneath. It was old but not broken. Its surface had metal strips that formed a triangle symbol, the same triangle scratched on the key. Mina's throat went dry. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the key. The letter said, "Use the key when the sand accepts you." "What does that even mean?" she whispered. As if answering, the wind stopped. Everything became silent. Even the birds seemed far away. Mina crouched beside the buried door. She brushed sand away with her hands. The sand moved easily, like it wanted to help. Under the top edge of the door, she found a keyhole. It was clean, not filled with dirt. Like someone kept it ready. Mina held the key above the hole. Her hand shook. This was the moment where she could turn back. She could tell herself it was too strange, too risky. She could run home and pretend none of this happened. But then she thought about her father. His quiet smiles. His way of looking at the forest sometimes, like he was remembering something. She remembered one night when she was a child, waking up and seeing him standing outside, staring toward the trees. When she asked what he was doing, he said only one sentence. "Some doors are waiting for the right person." Mina breathed in. Then she pushed the key into the keyhole. It slid in smoothly. No struggle. No resistance. She turned it. A deep click came from below, not loud but heavy, like stone shifting. The sand under her knees vibrated slightly. Mina pulled her hands back and stood. For a second nothing happened. Then the door began to rise. Not from hinges like a normal door, but from the center, lifting upward as if something below was pushing it. Sand slid off it in soft waves. The air grew warmer, and a smell of dry earth and old wood rose like a memory. As the door lifted fully, Mina saw a staircase going down. It looked impossible. A staircase in the middle of sand. In the middle of a forest. The steps were made of stone, smooth from use. On the left side was a wall of packed earth that looked like it had been carved carefully. On the right side was wood support beams, dark but strong. Mina leaned forward and listened. A faint sound came from below. Not a voice. Not an animal. A soft, steady hum, like something alive breathing through the ground. Mina's skin tightened. She took a step back. Fear finally caught her. The kind of fear that makes your mind shout at you to leave. But curiosity held her like a rope. She looked at the trees around the sand. The forest edge was still. Too still. It felt like the whole forest was waiting to see what she would do. Mina picked up her basket again, even though she no longer cared about herbs. Holding it made her feel less empty-handed. She took a careful step onto the first stair. The stone was warm. Not cold like normal underground places. She stepped down another. The air changed again. It became dry, like desert air, but also cool in a strange way, like the breath from a deep cave. Mina kept going. After 10 steps, she looked back up. The doorway above looked smaller, framed by bright sand and trees. She could still climb out quickly if she wanted. Then she heard something behind her. A crunch. Mina turned fast, heart racing. Someone was standing at the top of the stairs, half hidden by sunlight and sand. Mina could not see the face clearly, only the shape. A person, watching her. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. The figure did not move closer. It just stood there, silent. Mina's mind flashed a warning. The letter said, "Do not show anyone." Did someone follow her? Did someone send her here on purpose, waiting to take whatever was hidden below? Mina backed down one step, gripping her basket tightly. Her eyes stayed locked on the figure. Then the figure spoke, voice calm and low. "Mina, you should not be here alone." Mina's stomach dropped. Because the voice was familiar. Too familiar. A voice she never expected to hear again. It sounded like her father. And that was impossible. The voice that called Mina's name did not shake or echo. It was steady, calm, and warm, the same way her father used to speak when she reminded him of something important. Mina stood frozen on the stone steps, her heart beating so hard that it felt like the sound might fill the tunnel. She slowly lifted her eyes toward the figure at the top. The sunlight behind him made it hard to see his face clearly, but his shape was familiar. The way he stood, the way his shoulders rested, even the small tilt of his head felt like something she had seen 1,000 times before. "That cannot be real," Mina whispered. The man took a careful step forward, keeping his distance. "It is real, Mina. I am here because you came." Tears filled her eyes before she could stop them. Her father had been gone for 5 years. She remembered the day clearly, the empty house, the quiet that followed, the way her mother stopped singing. Mina had never been given a full answer about how he passed. People said it was sudden, that his heart gave out, but it never felt complete. "How are you here?" she asked, her voice breaking. "There is much you do not know," her father replied. "And not much time." Mina felt dizzy. Her legs shook. She leaned against the earth wall to keep from falling. If this was a dream, it was the most real dream she had ever had. If it was not, then everything she believed about the world was about to change. "Come down," her father said gently. "You cannot understand from there." Mina hesitated. The stairs felt suddenly dangerous. But her heart pulled her forward more than fear pushed her back. She took another step down, then another, slowly closing the distance between them. As she moved deeper, the light from above faded and the walls glowed faintly with a soft golden tone, like they held light inside them. When Mina reached the bottom of the stairs, she stood in a wide underground chamber. The ceiling was high and curved, and smooth stone walls formed a circle around her. The air was dry but clean. In the center of the chamber was a low stone platform, and on it rested something covered by a long cloth. Her father stood near the platform. Up close, he looked exactly as he did before. Same hair, same eyes, same gentle lines on his face. Mina reached out slowly, almost afraid he would disappear. "Are you really here?" she asked. He nodded. "In a way that matters, yes." "What does that mean?" "It means I am not alive the way you remember, but I am not gone either. This place holds echoes, and some echoes are strong enough to speak." Mina did not fully understand, but she felt the truth in his voice. This place was not normal. The desert above, the hidden stairs, the humming air, it all felt like something beyond the surface world. "Why did you bring me here?" Mina asked. "Why hide this from us?" Her father looked toward the covered platform. "Because this secret was never meant to be passed easily. Only when the time was right." He stepped to the platform and pulled the cloth away. Mina gasped. Beneath the cloth was a large crystal shaped like a tall flame. It glowed with a soft golden light that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Inside it, faint lines of light moved and shifted, forming shapes that almost looked like memories. Faces, places, moments. Mina felt something pull at her chest as she stared at it. "What is that?" she asked. "That is the core," her father said. "The heart of the hidden desert." "The desert is not natural," Mina said. "No," he replied. "It was created." Created by who? By people who wanted to protect something too powerful to exist in the open world. Long ago, this land was not forest. It was a dry plain, and beneath it, a source of energy was discovered. An energy that could heal, change, and even bend what we call time. But it also attracted those who would use it to control others. Mina felt her mind spin. Time. Energy. None of this sounded real, yet she was standing in a hidden chamber under a desert that should not exist. "Your family was chosen to guard it," her father continued. "For generations, someone from our bloodline was bound to this place. They made sure the core stayed hidden, balanced, and safe." "Why me?" Mina asked. "Why not you?" He smiled softly. "I did my part. I sealed the entrance, created the illusion of the forest around the desert, and made sure no one could reach it without the key. But every guardian has a limit. My time ended sooner than expected." Mina felt a sudden ache in her chest. "You left us." "I did not want to," he said. "But keeping this place safe took more from me than I could give. That is why I waited until you were ready." "Ready for what?" "To choose." He turned toward her fully. "This place needs a living guardian. Someone who can listen to the core, feel when it is disturbed, and keep the balance. The world above is changing. People are searching for things they do not understand. If they find this desert, they will not leave it untouched." Mina thought of the figure she saw at the top of the stairs. Someone was already close. "Was that someone else up there?" she asked. Her father nodded slowly. "Yes. Someone who has been watching this place for a long time." "Who?" "A group from the city. They know there is something here, though they do not know exactly what. They followed small signs, energy shifts, old records. The letter you received was sent by an old friend of mine who tried to delay them." Fear crawled through Mina. "So they might be outside right now." "They are," her father said quietly. Mina turned toward the stairs. Her heart began to race again. What happens if they come down? If they reach the core, they will try to take it. And if they take it, the balance will break. The desert will spread. The forest will die. And the energy will attract more and more people until nothing is left untouched. Mina felt the weight of his words settle on her shoulders. This was not just about her family. It was about the whole land. "I cannot do this," she said. "I am not strong enough." "You are," he replied. "Because you care." That is what the core responds to. The crystal pulsed brighter, almost as if it heard him. Mina stepped closer to it. As she did, a wave of feeling passed through her. Memories that were not hers. Images of the forest growing, the desert being sealed, her father standing in this chamber years ago, placing his hand on the glowing surface. "What is happening?" Mina asked, overwhelmed. "The core is recognizing you," he said. "It knows your blood. It knows your heart." Mina pulled her hand back. "I do not want to lose my life to this place." "You will not lose it," her father said. "You will change it." A sound echoed from above. Footsteps on the stairs. More than one. Mina turned sharply. "They are coming," she whispered. Her father nodded. "This is where your choice becomes real." "What choice?" You can run, go back up, and let them take whatever they want. The world will move on, though it will not be the same. Or you can bind yourself to the core, become its guardian, and keep this place hidden and protected. Mina's throat tightened. Bind myself how? By placing your hand on the crystal and accepting the connection. It will not trap you here forever, but it will tie your life to this place. You will feel when it is threatened. You will know when to return. The footsteps grew louder. Voices whispered above. Mina felt tears slip down her cheeks. She thought of her mother waiting at home, unaware. She thought of the quiet village, the trees, the simple life she once felt trapped by. Now it all felt precious. If I do this, will I ever be normal again? She asked. Her father smiled sadly. Normal was never meant for you. The crystal glowed brighter. Mina took a deep breath and reached toward it. Mina placed her trembling hand on the glowing crystal. The moment her skin touched its surface, a warm wave flowed through her arm and into her chest. It did not burn. It did not hurt. It felt like a deep breath she did not know she had been holding for her whole life. The light inside the crystal shifted, moving faster, brighter, wrapping around her hand like gentle threads of gold. The chamber changed. The stone walls began to glow softly, as if waking from a long sleep. The low hum grew stronger and steadier. Mina felt a strange calm settle over her, even as footsteps echoed closer on the stairs. Her father watched her with pride in his eyes. You have chosen well, he said. Mina felt tears slide down her face. I am scared. That means you understand the weight of what you are doing, he replied. That is what makes you strong. The crystal pulsed once, then again. With each pulse, Mina felt memories that were not hers flow through her. She saw her ancestors standing in this chamber across many years. Men and women placing their hands on the same glowing surface. She felt their fears, their hopes, their promise to protect this place. The desert above, the forest around it, all of it was part of a careful balance they had kept alive. Now it was her turn. The footsteps were close now. Voices grew louder. People arguing in low tones, not realizing how near they were to something that could change their lives forever. Mina lifted her hand from the crystal. She felt different. Stronger, but also more aware. She could sense the desert above, the forest beyond, and even the people on the stairs. Their presence felt like a ripple in still water. They are here, she said. Her father nodded. I will hold them as long as I can. Hold them how? Mina asked. He smiled softly. This place was built on sacrifice. It always has been. Before she could stop him, her father turned toward the stairs. His form began to glow faintly, like the crystal. He placed his hand on the stone wall and closed his eyes. The air in the chamber shifted. The footsteps stopped suddenly. Mina heard confused voices. Someone shouted. The stairs began to shake slightly, as if the space itself was resisting them. What are you doing? Mina asked. I am becoming part of this place, he replied calmly. My last task as its guardian. Mina felt panic rise. No, you just came back. You cannot leave again. He turned to her, his eyes full of love. I never really left you. I was always here, waiting for you to be ready. The light around him grew brighter. His shape became softer, less solid, like a reflection in water. Take care of your mother, he said. Live your life. Do not let this duty steal your heart. Mina reached for him, but her hand passed through warm light. I will never forget you. You never could, he replied gently. Then he was gone. The chamber went quiet for a moment. The crystal pulsed again, slower now, steady and calm. Mina felt a deep ache in her chest, but also a sense of peace. Her father had not vanished. He had become part of the place he protected. The voices above grew faint. The shaking stopped. The intruders were being pushed back by something they could not see. Mina took a deep breath. She walked to the stairs and looked up. The desert light shone down, but now it felt different. It felt like it belonged to her. "You will not find what you are looking for," Mina said softly, though she did not know if they could hear her. "This place is protected." The air answered her. The sand above began to move, closing the entrance slowly. The hidden door lowered, sealing the chamber once more. The intruders were left in the forest, confused and empty-handed, unable to explain what they had almost touched. Mina returned to the crystal. She placed her hand on it again, not to bind herself this time, but to feel its steady pulse. It felt like a heartbeat that matched her own. "I am here," she whispered. Time passed differently after that. Mina returned to her village the same day, but she was not the same inside. She could feel the forest now. When the wind shifted, she knew. When the desert stirred, she sensed it. It was not heavy. It was like listening to a quiet song that guided her. Her mother noticed a change. Mina seemed calmer, more sure of herself. "What did you find in the forest?" her mother asked one evening as they sat together. Mina smiled softly. "Something that helped me understand who I am." Her mother nodded, as if that was enough. Mina still lived her life. She worked. She laughed. She helped others. But sometimes she walked to the edge of the forest and closed her eyes, listening to the land. She knew when to return to the hidden desert. She knew when it was safe. And sometimes, when the air was just right, she felt her father's presence, warm and steady, like the sun on sand. This story leaves one quiet question for everyone reading. Have you ever felt like a place or a moment was calling you for a reason? If you have ever felt that kind of pull, drop a comment and share your story. Mina tried to return to normal life after the day the desert door closed behind her. She told herself she could be the guardian quietly, the same way a person carries a secret scar under their clothes. She helped her mother in the mornings, went to the small market, greeted neighbors, and smiled at jokes she had heard many times before. On the outside she looked the same as she always had. On the inside, the forest felt like a living map in her chest. The first week was calm. Too calm. At night, Mina would sit by the window and listen to the trees. The wind sounded different now, as if it had words. Sometimes she would catch a faint hum under the normal sounds of the village. It was the same hum from the chamber, soft and steady, like a distant drum. It did not scare her. It reminded her she was connected, that she had not imagined any of it. But on the 8th day, something changed. Mina woke before sunrise with her heart racing. She sat up in bed, confused, as if someone had called her name. The room was dark. Her mother was asleep in the next room. Everything looked normal. Then Mina felt it. A sharp pull inside her chest, like an invisible thread tightening. The air felt dry, even inside the house. And beneath that, the hum had changed. It was not steady anymore. It was uneven, like a heartbeat that had started to stumble. Mina got out of bed and walked to the window. The forest looked the same, tall and shadowed, but the silence around it felt heavy. She pressed her palm against the glass and closed her eyes. A clear image flashed in her mind, so fast it almost made her step back. A line of people moving between trees. A small metal case being carried carefully. A bright light that did not belong in the forest. Mina opened her eyes, breathing hard. Someone was back. She pulled on her scarf, slipped into her shoes, and moved quietly through the house. She filled a bottle with water, grabbed a small flashlight, and wrote a note for her mother. Went to pick herbs early, will return soon. It was not the full truth, but it would keep her mother from panic. Outside, the morning air was cold. Mina walked fast, keeping her steps light. As she neared the forest, the pull inside her chest grew stronger, guiding her like a compass. It felt almost painful, but it also gave her direction with complete certainty. She passed the safe paths and the berry bushes. She reached the old stone well and moved behind it without hesitation. The forest was darker here, and the branches above blocked the early sun. Mina did not feel lost. She felt chosen. When she reached the broken arch, the wind touched her cheek and moved to the right again, like before. Mina followed it, cutting through vines and roots. Her breathing quickened. She could sense the intruders now, not with her eyes, but through the connection in her chest. Their presence disturbed the balance like stones thrown into still water. The trees thinned, and the sand appeared. But something was wrong. The desert looked duller, less golden. The surface of the sand was uneven, as if it had been disturbed recently. Mina's footprints from last time were gone, erased by time or by the desert itself. The air above the sand felt warmer, almost too warm, and the wind moved in short, nervous bursts. Mina stepped onto the sand, and the pull in her chest tightened sharply. Then she saw them. At the far edge of the desert, close to the tree line, 3 people stood near the spot where the hidden door had opened before. They wore practical outdoor clothes, and each carried a bag. One held a device that looked like a scanner, moving it slowly over the sand. Another person kneeled and brushed the sand with a small tool, searching for something. The third person watched the trees like they expected someone to appear. Mina ducked behind a thick trunk at the edge of the desert and watched. Her heart beat loud in her ears. She could not hear all their words, but she caught pieces. "It is here, I can feel it, the signal is stronger today, we need the entrance." The person with the scanner turned toward the trees suddenly, as if sensing movement. Mina held her breath. The person stared for a moment, then looked away. Mina stayed still until her lungs hurt. Then the kneeling person opened a small metal case. Inside the case was a flat object, dark and smooth, about the size of a book. The moment Mina saw it, the hum in her chest reacted like it recognized a threat. The air around the sand felt tighter. The person placed the object on the ground and pressed something on its surface. A low vibration spread through the sand. Mina felt it in her bones. Her mind flashed with another image, not from her own memory. It was her father, standing in the chamber, looking tired, his hand on the crystal. His voice echoed inside her, gentle but urgent. "Not that device, if they use it, the core will wake wrong." Mina's stomach turned cold. She understood without being told. That device was meant to force the entrance open. Not with the key, not with acceptance, but with pressure. Mina stepped out from behind the tree and walked onto the sand. "Hey," she called, her voice steady even though her hands shook. All 3 intruders turned at once. For a second, they looked surprised, as if they did not expect anyone to find them. Then the person with the scanner smiled slowly, like someone who had just found the missing piece of a puzzle. Well, the person said. "You are local." Mina stopped at a safe distance. "This place is private land," she said. "You should not be here." The kneeling person stood up, brushing sand from their knees. "Private land does not create a desert in the middle of a forest," they replied. Mina kept her face calm. "Leave," she said. The one holding the metal case stepped forward. He had a neat beard and sharp eyes. His voice was polite, but there was something cold under it. "You are Mina," he said. Mina's chest tightened. "How do you know my name?" The man smiled slightly. "The letter was meant to bring you here. We knew you would come sooner or later." Mina's mouth went dry. So they had planned this. They had waited. "Who are you?" Mina asked. "We are people who search for what the world hides," the man said. "We find lost places, buried stories, forgotten power." Mina felt anger rise. "This is not yours." "We are not here to steal," he replied smoothly. "We are here to understand. And to protect, if necessary." Mina almost laughed at the word protect. She had heard people use pretty words to cover selfish goals before. But she did not laugh. She stayed serious. "This place is already protected," she said. The man's eyes narrowed. "By you." Mina did not answer. She did not need to. The man glanced at the dark device on the sand. "If you truly are the guardian," he said, "then you should be grateful we came. Something is changing here. Energy readings are rising. The sand temperature is increasing. That means the core is unstable." Mina's heart skipped. She had sensed a change too, but hearing it spoken out loud made it feel more real and more dangerous. "What do you know about the core?" Mina asked carefully. The man's smile returned. "Enough to know it is valuable. Enough to know it should not belong to one family forever." Mina took a slow breath. "It does not belong to me," she said. "It belongs to the balance." The kneeling person lifted the scanner again. "The entrance is below this sand," she said, watching the screen. "There is a structure. A chamber. Something glowing." Mina's hands tightened into fists. She could feel the door below, sealed and silent, like a sleeping animal. "You cannot open it," Mina said. The bearded man tilted his head. "Unless you open it for us." Mina held his gaze. "No." The man's polite mask slipped slightly. "Then we will open it without your help." He nodded toward the device. The person beside it reached down and pressed another button. The vibration grew stronger. Mina's chest felt like it was being squeezed. She stumbled one step, her eyes widening as the hum in her body turned sharp and urgent. The sand began to move. Not like wind movement. Like something beneath it shifting. Mina heard a low sound, deep under the ground, like stone groaning. "Stop," Mina shouted. "You do not understand what you are doing." The man's eyes stayed calm. "We understand more than you think," he replied. "Your father understood too. He kept it hidden because he feared what others might do. But fear is not a good reason to lock the world out." Mina flinched. "Do not speak about my father," she said. The man's voice softened, almost kind. "He was part of this story, Mina. And so are you. You can either help us, or you can watch us force the door open." The sand trembled under Mina's feet. She felt a sudden pulse of heat rise through the ground, as if the desert itself was warning her. Mina closed her eyes for a second and reached inward, toward the connection. She focused on the steady part of the hum, searching for the core's true rhythm. At first it was hard. The vibration from their device was disrupting it like noise in a song. Then she found it. A slow calm beat beneath the chaos. Mina opened her eyes and stepped forward. The bearded man watched her carefully. Mina lifted her hand toward the sand where the door would be. She did not touch the ground. She did not need to. She spoke softly, not to the intruders, but to the desert. "Enough." The air changed. The wind stopped completely. The vibration from the device continued, but the sand above it began to sink, as if it was swallowing the sound. The kneeling person's eyes widened. "What is happening?" Mina's voice stayed calm. "You are not accepted here," she said. "The sand knows the difference." The device started to tilt as the sand shifted under it. One of the intruders grabbed it quickly, lifting it up. But it was too late. A ring of sand rose around them, forming a shallow wall, not high enough to trap them physically, but enough to make them step back in surprise. The air inside the ring became hotter. The bearded man stared at Mina. "You can control it." Mina swallowed, feeling the strain. "Not control," she said. "Listen." The sand wall held for a moment, then slowly fell back into place, smooth again, like nothing had happened. The intruders stood still, shaken. Mina felt dizzy. Using the connection like that took energy from her, like she had run up a hill. The bearded man's eyes sharpened again. "You are stronger than we expected." Mina wiped sweat from her forehead. "Leave now," she said, "before this place reacts worse." The man looked down at the scanner readings, then back at Mina. "You think you are protecting the balance," he said. "But you are one person. A young woman with no training. If the core is unstable, it could destroy the forest. It could spread the desert beyond this circle. It could change everything." Mina felt fear, but not the kind that makes someone run. The kind that makes someone choose carefully. "What do you want?" Mina asked. The man paused, then spoke in a more honest tone. "We want access," he said. "We want to study it. If we understand it, we can control the instability. We can prevent disaster. Mina looked at their faces. She saw hunger, yes. But she also saw something else. A real worry under their excitement. They believed some of what they were saying. Mina's mind flashed again. This time it was not her father. It was the crystal, sending her a feeling, a warning that carried meaning without words. Danger is coming not from them alone, from deeper. Mina's throat tightened. She suddenly understood why the hum had stumbled when she woke. It was not only because intruders were near. Something below was changing. Mina looked at the bearded man. If I open the door, she said slowly, you will not touch the core. The man's eyes narrowed. Then what is the point? The point is that you will see, Mina said. And you will leave with a warning. The man studied her, then nodded slowly. Fine, he said. Show us. But if we see disaster coming, we will not walk away blindly. Mina did not trust him fully, but she also felt the deeper warning pressing on her. She needed witnesses. She needed proof. And part of her wanted to know the truth too. She stepped to the center of the sand, where the door had opened before. Mina pulled the key from her pocket. It felt warmer than usual, like it had been waiting. The intruders watched closely. Mina knelt, pressed the key into the hidden lock under the sand, and turned. The click came again, deep and heavy. The sand shifted, and the door rose, opening to reveal the stone staircase. A wave of warm dry air floated up from below. The bearded man's eyes widened despite himself. Mina stood and faced them. You follow me, she said. You do not touch anything. You do not speak loudly. You do not move fast. The kneeling person swallowed. Understood. They began to descend. Mina led the way. The moment Mina stepped into the chamber, the crystal's glow brightened slightly, recognizing her. The hum steadied for a breath, then wobbled again, like a lamp flickering. The intruders froze as the chamber opened before them. The crystal, the glowing walls, the strange warmth, it all looked like something from a hidden world. What is this place? One whispered. Mina walked to the platform. This is the reason the desert exists, she said. And it is not a treasure. The bearded man stepped closer, stopping when Mina raised her hand. His eyes stayed fixed on the crystal. That is the source, he said quietly. The crystal pulsed, then pulsed again, faster. Mina's chest tightened. She felt it clearly now. Not a normal pulse. A stressed pulse. Then the chamber shifted. A sound rose from beneath the platform, like a deep sigh. The crystal's inner lights flashed sharply, and for the first time, the chamber felt cold. Mina's eyes widened. The warning from the core became clear as a thought. The seal is thinning, a layer is breaking, the desert is not the only thing being held back. Mina stepped back, her breath caught. The intruders looked at each other nervously. The kneeling person's scanner beeped rapidly. The readings are spiking, she said. Something is happening. Mina felt a familiar presence for a moment, like a hand on her shoulder. Her father's warmth, faint but real, came through the connection. Not fear, focus, you are not alone. Mina closed her eyes and placed her palm on the crystal again. She did not ask for power. She asked for understanding. In her mind, an image formed. Deep under the chamber, beneath layers of stone, there was another space. A forgotten pocket. And inside it, something old was waking. Not a monster, not a creature, but a force, a storm of energy that had been sealed long before the core was built. The core was not just a source. It was also a lock. Mina opened her eyes slowly. The intruders were watching her. You were right about one thing, Mina said, voice quiet. The core is unstable. The bearded man's face tightened. What does that mean? It means this place does not only need a guardian, Mina said. It needs help. But not the kind that takes. The kind that supports the balance. The kneeling person swallowed. What is down there? Mina looked at the crystal as it pulsed unevenly. A bigger secret, she said. The kind that should never be forced open. The bearded man breathed out slowly, shaken. Then what do we do? Mina felt the connection tighten again, like the forest itself was leaning in to listen. She made a decision. You leave the device, Mina said. You do not use it again. You go back and tell whoever sent you that the desert is not safe to touch. And you send me the name of someone who understands energy, someone who can help without trying to claim this place. The bearded man hesitated. Mina leaned closer, her voice firm. If you try to take the core, the balance breaks. If the balance breaks, the forest dies. And the desert will not stay hidden. Everyone will come. And what is under us will wake fully. Silence filled the chamber. Finally, the bearded man nodded. I will do it, he said. But I want one thing. What? Proof that you are not just guarding a secret for yourself, he said. Proof that you will protect people if danger comes. Mina looked toward the walls, toward the faint glow that now flickered. She thought of her village, her mother, the children playing near the forest, the elders who believed the trees were alive. Then she nodded once. I will protect them, she said. That is the point. The crystal pulsed again, slower this time, as if it had heard her promise and accepted it. The chamber warmed slightly. The hum steadied. Mina exhaled, realizing she had been holding her breath. She guided the intruders back up the stairs. When they reached the desert, Mina sealed the door again with a key, and the sand smoothed over as if closing a wound. The intruders did not argue now. They looked different, less confident, more careful. The bearded man held Mina's gaze. You changed today, he said. You did not just protect the secret. You faced it. Mina's voice was soft. I did not choose this life, she said. But I will choose what kind of guardian I become. The bearded man nodded and turned away with the others, disappearing into the trees. Mina stood alone on the sand for a moment. The wind returned, gentle now, brushing her cheek like a quiet promise. She felt the forest breathe again. She felt the core settle into a calmer rhythm, still fragile, but not panicking. She walked home slowly, letting the morning sun warm her face. When she entered the house, her mother looked up sharply. Where were you? She asked, worry in her eyes. Mina stepped closer and hugged her mother tightly. Her mother froze at first, then hugged back. I was in the forest, Mina said. Her mother pulled away, studying her face. And did you find what you needed? Mina nodded. Yes, she said. And I also found what I must protect. Her mother did not push for details. She just touched Mina's cheek gently, like she could feel the change in her skin. Then she whispered something that shocked Mina. Your father always said the forest would choose you one day. Mina's eyes widened. You knew. Her mother's lips trembled. I knew there was something, she said softly. I did not know the shape of it. But I knew your father carried a weight. And I knew it would not end with him. Mina felt tears rise again, but this time they were not only pain. They were relief. She was not completely alone. That night, Mina stood outside under the stars. The forest was quiet, but not cold. The air felt like it held a story that continued beyond one ending. Mina placed a hand on her chest and listened. The hum was steady. The balance was holding. But she also felt something new. A future. A path where she might not only be a guardian, but a bridge. Between secrecy and safety. Between power and responsibility. Between the past and what comes next. And now, a question for you reading this. If you found a hidden place that could change your life, would you keep it secret forever, or would you share it with the world if it could help people?